Welcome, welcome. Getting ready to go here. Making sure I'm in the center of the screen. I always get off on the center of the screen. There we go. Welcome, my friends. Here we are. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Hadfinidine. Welcome. Glad that you guys are all here. We'll give a few moments, so we're going to get started. We'll get started at 3:10, so we'll just let everybody kind of come in, and then we'll start the meditation at 3:10 so everybody can join us. In that time, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about mindfulness meditation, about our practice today. This is a practice, I wanted to share it because I needed to record it too. So this is one of the practices that we'll be using in our Holiday Resilience Challenge. One of the key issues in our life is that we live in a state of reactivity, where we feel the emotions of others and we kind of take those emotions on, and then we act out of them. And so many of our days, so much of our lives, we live on autopilot, going from one thought to another thought, to another thought, to another thought. And one of my favorite kind of examples of this is like old style YouTube, before the algorithms were really complicated. And it was easy to start watching one video, and then you clicked on the side thing, and you watched another video, and then you clicked on cats, and then you clicked on 1,000 people chopping trees, and that's what I was doing in 8th grade. And then before you know it, you get to this point, you're like, how am I here? That's how the mind works. The mind is a thinking machine. And just like the algorithm here on Instagram that's just looking to kind of confirm and grab onto more, you and your mind is going from one reaction to another reaction, to another reaction, to another reaction. And mindfulness is the practice where we learn to step back from reactivity, where we learn to simply be here in this moment rather than being caught up in thought. And the practice that we're going to do today, as I'm saying here, is part of our Holiday Resilience Challenge. This is something that I wanted to offer to you all, this challenge. I put this together because I want to help you to become more aware of how many of these lived reactions aren't conscious. They're things that we've learned to do, and they're patterns that we've gotten stuck in. And so what I've found in mindfulness has been one of the most powerful gifts, really, to help me to become aware of how much of my personality, how much of my persona is really just the reaction tendencies that I've learned from others. And mindfulness has helped me to really become much more aware of who I really am, which is this open space of undefinable awareness. So we'll give it one more moment here before we get started. And this is a really important note. Mindfulness is the practice of being non-judgmental and non-reactive. The only way to stop being judgmental and to stop being reactive is to not add to it. So our intention in a mindfulness practice is never to stop thought. That's impossible. Instead, what we're learning to do is to step back from thought. And that's what we're learning. We learn to be non-reactive, not by saying, I'm never going to react again, because that's actually just another reaction. We learn to be non-reactive by saying, when I become reactive, I'm going to step back from it. And that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to teach you just this really simple, really easy 3-part formula for reactivity. We're going to become aware of it, noticing it, bringing that awareness to it. We're going to step back from it. So we're saying we're not going to add to it. And then we're going to step into our senses. And this is really the core of mindfulness. So here we'll begin this practice. It'll probably be about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, probably around 15 minutes. And we'll get started here right away. So, find yourself in a comfortable seat, a natural position, sitting upright, but still balanced. And we'll begin by just taking a few breaths in through the nose, gently out through the mouth. In through the nose, and out through the mouth. In through the nose, letting it go, and on this last breath out, just allowing your eyes to close. And we'll begin this practice by just giving yourself a few moments to arrive in this moment. Allowing yourself to recognize your surroundings, the sounds, the movements, the setting. Allowing yourself to arrive in your body. Noticing the sensation of your body. Butt beneath you, feet on the floor. Notice a sense of balance. Just giving yourself a moment to arrive. Mindfulness is the practice of being non-judgmental and non-reactive. It's not about stopping thoughts. It's not about stopping reactions. It's not about stopping judgment. It's simply about recognizing when we're caught in the cycle of judgment and reaction and stepping back from it without adding any more to it. And so here throughout our practice today, anytime you get caught up in thought, which will happen, it's inevitable. It's what the mind does. It's a thinking machine. That's okay. But when you notice that you've gotten caught up in that thought, when you notice that you've gotten caught in reactivity, we simply bring awareness. We step back without adding more to it. And then we come into our senses. So we're beginning here by coming into the senses in the body. The breath rising and falling. The sensations of tingling in the hands and the feet. Feeling of the butt beneath you. You are here. And we're simply turning inwards and noticing the body here. Noticing any energy in the body, any warmth or tingling. You might find it helpful to put your hand on your belly and a hand on your heart. To notice your belly naturally flowing in the breath. Notice your heart beating all on its own. And if you're getting caught up in thought or distractions, you're getting caught up in reactivity, that's okay. We follow that 3-part sequence of we simply recognize with awareness when we've gotten caught up in reactivity. We step back without adding to the reactivity. And then we return to the senses, noticing how the body feels here. And as we're connecting with our senses, We're savoring them. We don't need to analyze them. We don't need to think about them. Let go of words. Let go of the need to define your experience. And simply saturate yourself in the sensation. We can open up to the sound field around us. Notice all the different layers of sound. Loud sounds, quiet sounds. There's no need to think about the sounds. Instead, it's almost like we're tasting the sounds. Immersing ourselves in the sensation of sound. Like you were in a wide ocean, a wide pool of sound. And notice that with sound, the awareness is so open. Notice how wide the sound field is. Notice that the sound field is open like the sky. And these sounds are like clouds. Sounds show up all on their own, out of nowhere, just like the clouds. And then all on their own, they fade away. And if you notice yourself getting caught up in thought, caught up in reactivity, wondering if you're doing this right, feeling frustrated or bored, that's okay. That's all welcome. We simply recognize those thoughts too, are like clouds. Clouds showing up in this wide open sky of awareness. We simply recognize the thoughts. We bring awareness. We step back from the thoughts. And then we simply return to our senses, noticing the sounds in this moment. And notice that your awareness doesn't compete with the sounds. Just like the sky does not compete with the clouds. There could be big storm clouds. There could be loud noises. The sky could be completely open, wide and vast. But just notice that the sky is simply here, open. No matter how big the storm is, no matter how big the storm clouds are, the sky is not threatened. Just like with the sounds, no matter how big the sounds are, no matter how small they are right now, your awareness is wide enough like the sky for all of it. And so with this wide open awareness, again we can return to our senses, connecting with the body. Noticing the breath rising and falling. Noticing the sensations of movement in your body with the breath. You have been breathing your entire life. How often have you slowed down to really follow and feel the breath? So notice the breath rising and falling. And when you notice yourself caught up in thinking or getting caught in reactivity, that's okay. Remember, it's normal. That's what the mind does. It thinks and it reacts. We're using this 3-step process when we notice that we're caught in reactivity. Bringing gentle awareness to the reactivity, stepping back from it by not adding to it, and then we are simply returning to our senses, the felt sense of the breath, rising and falling. And so now, having noticed sounds, having noticed sensation in the body, the breath rising and falling, we can just notice the awareness that's present through it all. The openness of the sky. Returning back to that awareness, back to that openness. Noticing that the awareness which is present throughout this whole practice, which is throughout your whole life, it's open. It's not reactive. It's not competitive. Just like the big blue sky, your awareness is wide open. So we're learning to just simply step back into that openness. To recognize that you are not the clouds, and you're not the one that's reacting to the clouds. There's just clouds judging clouds, thoughts judging other thoughts. You are not the thoughts, you are not the feelings. You are the big, open, blue sky. And in this practice, we're simply learning to step back, to rest in the openness of this blue sky. So that by practicing this state of open, mindful awareness, we learn to cultivate it as a trait. And so I'll bring this practice to a close here. Noticing again the sounds, noticing the body, noticing the breath. And without any need to transition, simply open your eyes, noticing how you feel, bringing this state of non-judgmental, non-reactive awareness, this openness with you into the day. Thank you for practicing with me. Take good care. So I'd love to open it up here for just a few minutes, maybe about 5 minutes of questions after practicing that meditation. This meditation of learning to be non-reactive is at the center and in the heart, really, of the 5-day challenge. You guys are welcome. I'm so glad for those of you who are able to join throughout. This practice of learning to be non-reactive is at the heart of our practice, of our 5-day challenge. I would love to see you there. We're starting tomorrow. But I wanted to do this here because I wanted to share it with all of you. Mindfulness is one of the most powerful practices that I've discovered in my life. And it's really helped me to Realize that so much of the way that I approach my problems is the problem. Mindfulness, this ability to realize that you actually have the openness of awareness within you. You just don't know how to access it. And when we learn to step back, we live from our true center. So if you found that practice helpful, that's the practice that we're going to be doing every day as a part of our 5-day holiday resilience challenge, because reactivity is at the heart of all of our emotional problems, all of our psychological problems, all of our relational problems. Reactivity is the heart because we act without awareness. We recycle actions that were acted onto us. That's what reactivity is. And by learning to step back from the reactivity, we practice being present to ourselves in a different way. To realize that we are not the clouds that are reacting to each other. We're not even the clouds that are reacting to the clouds reacting. We're the big blue sky, the open space of awareness, as you can see beautifully behind me. And so I would love to welcome you guys to join the challenge with me. You can DM me a link challenge and I'll send you the link. We're starting tomorrow. I'm really, really excited about it. To help you recognize, okay, these are the patterns of reactivity that I've learned. Here's how I can step out of that reactivity, and so especially when we're around family, so we can be more connected to ourselves. So I'd love to open it up to questions. What part of the country does John Paul live in? I live in around Pittsburgh, so that's where I'm at. But I would love to open it up to questions for you all. Any questions about mindfulness or this practice, or any questions about the challenge? I think this practice of mindfulness is one of the things that we do on day one in the challenge to help you recognize these patterns of cycling of reactivity and judgment. Because without compassion, without true awareness, we can become more analytical, we can come to know more about our experience, but unless we can bring compassion, nothing really changes. So we'll have a few more minutes of questions here for you all. That challenge begins tomorrow. I'd love to see you all there. 5-day journaling practice. Can mindfulness be used as a form of avoidance, Nate? Yes, it can. There's a term called spiritual bypass, and spiritual bypass happens when we use spiritual language, or we use something like mindfulness, really as a way to just get away from our problems. But if you have somebody who's practicing mindfulness that's a mentor, kind of like a guide, they will help you to experience. The helpful thing about having a guide is they can help you recognize when are you using mindfulness as a form of avoidance. But I'll say this, even if you are using mindfulness as a form of avoidance, it's a much better form of avoidance than a lot of other things. So there's certainly kind of levels of health and integration. But I think we can use these practices as a way to get away from our experience. The thing is that's not true mindfulness. That's just a part of us using mindfulness to try to deal with another part. True mindfulness helps us to actually step into our experience. That too is a practice that we develop. How consistently do you need to see a difference with ADHD and brain fog? So I have ADHD. I practice mindfulness meditation every day, and I can notice the difference throughout the day when I don't practice it. So I think you will be amazed at how different your day feels, how different your brain feels, if the first thing you do in the morning, rather than reaching for your phone for 10 minutes, is if you don't touch your phone, the first thing you do when you wake up, you go outside and go for a 5-minute walk, and then you sit and meditate for 10 minutes, you will be absolutely amazed at how different the experience of your mind is throughout the day. At what time will those live videos take place? So BJ, you can DM me the word challenge and I'll send you a link. So there will be a couple live group calls during the challenge, but the challenge is pre-recorded, but then, so you can do it at your own pace. But we have a community, so there's gonna be a group message and we'll be sharing our reflections. Highly self-aware, it becomes difficult to know if a person I'm seeking is also the same, or have deep talks, how to know. I think in order to, I think the only way to know that if somebody that you like has a capacity for connection with you is to try to connect. And if you feel connected, if you find that connection, I think that's a pretty good indication. The thing, it felt so forced, all of it. Didn't feel that compassionate at all. I felt myself forcing myself to be aware. Yeah, Nate, so there might be, there might have been a part of you that's trying to practice to force it. I think in this we can learn, I think this is one of the reasons why it's important to do it as a practice. And there might be mindfulness meditations that kind of focus on, one thing that might be good to do is to start practicing walking meditations. That can be a really easy way to approach it. If the video diminishes of live videos is correct for everyone, or is there some problem with my phone? I don't see the full video in dimensions. I don't know why. I'm curious if anybody else is seeing it that way. On my side, I can see it full, but maybe there's an issue with how it's converting over. I don't know. You've been practicing mindfulness for a few months, but it becomes annoying as I can't stop reacting. How can I handle this feeling? Yeah, so that's a great question. The answer is that we can't stop reacting. You cannot stop the mind from reacting. What we're learning to do is to stop reacting to the reaction. You can't stop judgment. The only thing that you can do is not add to it. So rather than saying, how can I stop reacting, we want to say, okay, can I learn to step back from reaction, recognizing it simply as a quality of the mind? And so this feeling of frustration, what I would say is learn to be mindful of the feeling of frustration, to step back from that. So when you notice the feeling of reaction, you step back from that. And when you notice a part of you that's going to feel like you, saying, why can't you step back? You step back from that and realize, okay, there's two parts of me here. A part of me that's reacting, a part of me that's frustrated with the reaction. And we handle that feeling by just simply noticing. These are all open clouds in the sky. Welcome from India. I'm so glad that you're here. So glad that you're liking the content. Any alternative to walk outside in the morning? Too high threshold. Yeah, whatever is going to help you wake up in the morning. So I like doing gentle yoga because it's really easy. But might not be waking up and walking outside. It could be just, I would just say, don't check your phone. Don't check your phone. Do something to wake up, and then practice mindfulness for 10 minutes. You'll be amazed of how your of how your day feels. Alexa, time me up. Man, it's been a long day since I was in school and remember what that word means. How do I incorporate prayer during mindfulness, or do you separate the two? Yeah, Bella J, I separate the two. I believe that the spiritual path, there's kind of two different dimensions to the spiritual path. There is an ego relationship with the divine, and then there is the experience of the non-dual relationship with the divine. The ego relationship with the divine is like me talking to God. It's like a son talking to a father, and I'm talking to God. That's kind of the approach that I think a lot of people take to prayer. The non-dual dimension of prayer is the experience of, oh my gosh, God is within me. He's within everything, and I'm a part of Him. And so I think both of these are different qualities can be qualities of prayer. I think discursive prayer or conversational prayer, I usually keep separate from mindfulness. And I think of mindfulness more as being immersed or marinating in God's presence. So I like to keep them separate. I've found a lot of help from being separate. But as you deepen your mindfulness, you'll see how they tie together. Okay, guys. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to go live at 6 o'clock today. So today I'm going to do a guided IFS journaling practice. It's kind of similar to this, but this would be more of learning to talk with these parts. So thank you for being here. And please join me in the challenge. We're starting next week, which is Monday. It's tomorrow. So join me tomorrow. We'll be learning how to recognize what's my internal system, my self system. How has it responded in reaction to the external family system? And how can I practice being non-reactive and non-judgmental, not getting sucked into the same old patterns this holiday season? So DM me the word challenge. I will send you a link for that. I would love to see you there. I would love to walk with you to help you to become more free, to become more yourself, to be less reactive. So thank you so much. Take good care. Have a good one.